All right. Let's do our last little quick video here of our Constitution, looking at our three branches of government and our separation of powers. Ignore the cartoons, just trying to be funny, okay? So first off, when they made our Constitution, right, right after Revolutionary War, um, our founders are really, really scared of tyranny, right? One king, one person getting all the power. So they brought in two really big ideas. One is the separation of powers. The other one is checks and balances. So the big goal here is that we're going to separate up the powers between three different branches: a legislative branch, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. We also talked about last video federalism, right? Splitting power between the federal and the state governments. At the same time, we have checks and balances, basically making sure no one branch gets too powerful. So each branch can check the other ones and kind of block them, if you will, and make sure that they aren't going to get too powerful. I love comparing the branches to different superheroes. Okay, went down Marvel hole one time during the COVID whole thing, right? But they always get their power from somewhere, right? So it doesn't matter what you're from. If you're from some faraway planet or get bitten by a radioactive spider, for the government, it's from the Constitution, right? Each of our branches have special powers. They have certain weaknesses too, right? Things that they can do, things they can't do. But their goal is supposed to be to help and protect the citizens. Sometimes they work together, think Avengers. Sometimes they don't work together, think, well, Avengers Civil War. And so each of those things kind of happen once in a while with our branches of governments. So our big tools of government we have here, if you notice in your notes, are the branches, the checks, the federalism. We already covered federalism once already, but we'll go into the rest of these parts here now if we can. So let's look at our branches, okay? Here are three branches of government: our U.S. Capitol, White House, and the Judiciary Building. In terms of our government here, right, we have our legislature. They make the laws. So they're going to actually write and create the laws. You guys here in class are going to be acting as legislature in our simulation. Now, both Wisconsin and the United States are a bicameral legislature, which means we have two different houses of legislature: a Senate and a House of the Federal, an Assembly and a Senate in Wisconsin. In the federal House of Representatives, we have 435 representatives. So it's all divided up based on state population. They divide each state up after that. Senators 100, two per state. In Wisconsin, we have 99 representatives and 33 senators. So if I go to the next page here and show you this, first off, here's Wisconsin, and right here is District 2. That's where we are. Okay, we're in District 2. Some are bigger, like 7 is almost all northern Wisconsin. Some are really tiny, like 4, because it's just city Milwaukee. So really, it's based on population, not based on size. So Mark Pocan's a representative here. The two senators represent the entire state. In Wisconsin, it's a little bit different. These are the new maps that are being used this fall. We are now in the 40th Assembly District right here, okay, which kind of goes from like Portage all the way down to like Spring Green kind of area. And so people are run for that Assembly District. Within that Assembly District, 3 Assembly Districts make up one Senate district. We're going to be in the 14th Senate district. And so that's what represents this big chunk here as well. So that's what represents us. That way they make our laws. The executive branch's job is to enforce the laws then, right? They're going to make sure that after the laws are made, they're actually happen, actually go down. For the federal, we have our president and vice president for that. In Wisconsin, we have our governor and lieutenant governor. Interesting is that they both are 4-year terms, but the president can only have 2 terms. That's an amendment that was made after Franklin Roosevelt. Now, both governor and president have some ways that they can enforce laws. They're not the only one trying to enforce all these laws, okay? First off, they decide what laws they want to enforce by signing or vetoing bills. In Wisconsin, they can actually veto part of a bill. It's called a line item veto. Not a big deal, though. Both can give what's called executive orders and basically tell the different agencies within their executive branch, different people in their branch, what to do and how to enforce the laws. They also get a cabinet. So a cabinet's going to be their advisors who then take care of different portions of the executive branch. And they can tell them how to enforce laws, how to make things happen. So, for example, an environmental law might be with the EPA. The president may tell the EPA, here's how I want you to do this, okay? Let's say we have a new deer hunting law. The governor may tell the DNR, hey, here's how I want you to enforce this new deer hunting law, and make it happen that way. The governor also has to do a budget in Wisconsin and approve a budget. The president has to sign a budget too. So the money is there to make these laws actually happen. We'll get more in depth in this later on, I promise, okay? We have our judicial branch then too. Our judicial branch's job is to interpret laws and make sure they're actually constitutional. There are sometimes laws that break the Constitution. They happen. Sometimes bad laws get made, and their job is to make sure that people complain and say that, hey, something weird happened here, that we fix it. So in the judicial branch, we have a 9-justice Supreme Court. Those justices are appointed by the president, approved by the Senate. In Wisconsin, we have 7 justices on our Supreme Court. They are elected to 10-year terms here in Wisconsin. So that's who we have to do those jobs. Now, a couple of separation of powers, right? Each one has their own different kinds of jobs. So like legislative branch can write the laws, they confirm the president puts someone into a job, they approve treaties, they give money out, they declare war. Only legislative branch can do this. The president can administer laws, they command the armed forces, but they don't declare war. They appoint the ambassadors, but they don't approve of them. They have to be approved by the legislative branch. They make treaties, but they have to be approved by Congress. So it's kind of that check and balance type thing. And the judicial branch, same thing. They interpret the Constitution, they review other decisions, and sometimes they may say, hey, an act of the president or a law of Congress are not constitutional, actually overturn that law. So we see certain things they can do. And so we kind of see a little diagram here of checks and balances that exist. For example, when it comes to the legislative branch, they can override an executive veto. If the president doesn't like the bill, right, they can veto that power. The legislature can override it. If the executive is getting out of hand, the legislative branch can impeach that president. We saw that with President Trump and a couple other presidents throughout history. They can also say, no, we're going to say no to your people that you're putting into office and your advisors. Legislative branch can also do different things for the judicial branch. When the president appoints the justice, right, the Senate has to approve of them. They can also impeach federal justice if need be. The judicial branch can declare laws and acts of the president unconstitutional. But the Supreme Court can make those things happen to make sure that they kind of keep those checks and balances that way. Looking at a more complicated sense, like this document here, all these different things they can do to kind of check each other out to make sure that no one branch gets too powerful. Remember, that big fear we had initially was the whole idea of tyranny. By doing this, we're going to try and make sure that no one branch gets too powerful. All right, guys, that's our last video for this section. I appreciate your time and your energy. We'll do some more stuff with this in class. Thank you so much, and looking forward to doing some more cool things with you all. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.